All right, so this is Sean Wheeler here. I'm doing a new thing. I've got my very first client who's agreed to meet and kind of do a post-session breakdown of what his experience was like so that any of you that are considering hypnosis or hypnotherapy can get a better idea of what the experience is like. I've got Jonathan Agami here with me. Jonathan signed on for a dozen sessions with me a few months back, had a really good experience. Jonathan, is there anything that you'd like to say about yourself or your background or kind of what led you into seeking out hypnotherapy?
Um, I came across hypnotherapy kind of lucky. I got recommended by a friend, I guess when I was like down and out, but I would say I am blown away by my experience and I view this as life-changing. And yeah, I could where do you want to ask another question or do you want
Well,
to
what we can do is start with a little bit is like, you say you're recommended for hypnotherapy. Like, what were you dealing with or struggling with at the time that was like at the top of your list?
Well, I think I was just I honestly think it was a stroke of luck. I think I was living a life a certain way and I didn't really know that there was this other side. And when I came across hypnotherapy, I was living a life basically to avoid criticism. So that would basically I guess I would say I lived in fear of criticism. So probably a lot of things that I did in my daily life um, were impacted that way, whether it was dealing with clients or dealing with dating or dealing with my family, anything, or even going or not going on a vacation or to a trip. Everything I did, I think I was doing out of fear. And I think the what changed, and it wasn't like some of it was overnight, and then some of it was with more training with the hypnosis and then some coaching through Sean, was how to coach yourself to, not live in fear and start attracting the good things in your life. And, if your thoughts are constantly addicted to worrying all the time and they go away somehow, then you have this open space to think what you want to think. And it's invigorating, it's life changing. From what I understand, there's other ways to get here, but this was pretty instant with me. Over a
Now, I
week.
recall, if I can interrupt you for a moment, I recall
Sure.
one of my favorite memories of working with you was when you came in for session number two. When you came in for your second session, it had been about a week since your first, right? And you sat down in the chair in my office, and you kind of had this smile on your face, and you looked at me, and you said, "So, what are we supposed to do with the other 11 sessions?" So tell me, what was it about? What changed that first after that first session that was so significant that you would that thought would even cross your mind?
I think it just immediately all the anxiety and the fears were just gone. Then, but I think I realized over the course of the 12 sessions that you can quickly, it's like a muscle. It's like you can quickly revert to like bad behavior and living in fear again and going down the rabbit hole of worrying about things you don't need to worry about, and also looking at the bad side of things versus the good side of things. And the openness also allows you and your without the anxiety and the fears to change perspective very quickly, and also to like be able to like learn new things and live a fun life. And I just that's what I think that the next 12 sessions were training me to to be able to like continue that feeling that I got on the first, to
Right.
live
So,
that.
so some people ask me, when it comes to hypnotherapy, like in the consultation or when they're first chatting with me about it, people are kind of conditioned to think of, pills as being solutions, right? And they think that you'll get hypnotized and your anxiety goes away, but that it'll wear off and anxiety comes back. But what I often tell folks, and you can validate, seems to be like what you're indicating is a similar thing, is that as we do more work, what I'm doing is I'm empowering you and teaching you how to run your own brain so that now at this point, I think it was in like what, November or December that we began our sessions somewhere in
Yeah.
there. So now,
Hmm.
we're at like, 5 months, 4 or 5 months out. And so would you say that, it's become stronger over time? Like in terms of like the feelings that you have, is there more of a consistency now of anxiety not being a problem.
So the way I personally view it is that like with pills or getting rid of anxiety, okay, that's great. I mean, that's removed, but having a perspective change and then having the mindset to like think about the positives in every situation and coach yourself through that, and also be persistent in whatever you're doing in life, like whether it's sales or dating or travel, whatever it is. I think that that's where I think that like I think general therapy in for the years was about like symptoms reduction, like getting rid of anxiety and stuff like that. But perspective change, I don't think, I think it's a new concept. I was hearing about it in a lot of podcasts I was listening to when we first started. And I think that's the goal in life. I mean, I think that's the goal in life. So it's like, now you have all this open space in your brain, like go be happy and go seek out the things that you want in life. Not just have this like, yeah, what did we do with the 12? Yeah, not just the first session, like the anxiety is gone. Now what? Like go live a fulfilled life, go do awesome things, like be high level, like I think you said to me one day, you're like, that's what my clients, I want them to be, you know?
Yeah, so I know there was kind of like what you were hoping for when you came for the sessions is like, I'm feeling anxious and I don't want to be anxious, and things like that. But what would you say was more surprising about what you got? What did you get out of it that maybe you weren't even hoping for or didn't even think was on the radar?
Um, what was that? I think it's the happiness and the like recently I've started to like notice the, not to say fruits, but like fruits of like my work is in attracting the right things in my life.
Mhm.
Like maybe had some breakthroughs in dating recently. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But that I think is like the happiness, and then the goal of attracting the right things in your life. I mean, maybe even just like your general happiness and confidence in yourself. I think that when that anxiety goes away, like you just feel so much better. Like you go up and talk to random people. Oh, I think I even noticed some things like just random when you're anxious. Like I even noticed it when I was skiing or when I was at the park sometimes. Like you notice like little things like look at that flower over there, or look at this view, like that I never noticed before because I was stuck in my head and worrying about maybe a lunch reservation, or worrying about skiing down the mountain, or worrying about something I didn't need to worry about.
Yeah.
And it allows you to, like the hypnosis and the training that we go through, it allows you like to live like a full present life also, like in the moment, like and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a concept that comes up. I like to bring it up with a lot of my clients to, just to being present. And I think a lot of people hear that talk, self-help books and otherwise, but it's in yoga. But like the practice of it is something that people struggle with sometimes. So you mentioned a comment in like one of our last conversations. The thing came up that movie, The Matrix, right? And we talked
yes,
about how, kind of like being unplugged in a certain way. And then I think you said you went back and rewatched that movie, right? And you're
yeah.
like, kind of tell me what you like, how could you say the experience of what we did or what you experienced through the hypnosis, how would that be similar to that, to that movie, that kind of metaphor of being unplugged?
So another concept that I think it was the last, what was it? Whatever the last moment was in the first movie. It's when Neo, like the bullets are constantly coming at him, and I think there's a lot of bullets and there's a lot of stuff with all like the
And he
Mr.
holds up his
Forget
hand,
That.
right? And
And he
stop.
holds up his hands. So that's like there's constantly things coming at you in life, and it's fighting back against them. And then at the end, it's about the controlling your emotions. And I think that's also like something that that's what I saw there when I saw that moment. And I was like, he's at that point where he's like, he's even has all these bullets in his body, and then he wakes up. And that's just the metaphor to me of just like there's also, the blue pill and the red pill. It's like if you take the red pill, if you're living this life of a blue pill, you're stuck in this negative world for the rest of your life, and that is the life that you live. and you will live the same life every single year for the rest of your life, and that's fine, and it's boring and nothing changes. And then once you take the blue pill or the red pill, like you go down this rabbit hole, and it can be exciting and exhilarating and up and down, but it opens you up to the just immense amount of options in the world when you're living free and attracted to anything that you want, and trying to attract the things that you can and life. And I think it's yeah, that's what I saw when I saw it.
Yeah, yeah, that, and so let me ask you this, just to go back a little bit. When you first came in and saw me for the consultation, and I want you to be 100% honest because you said something funny when we talked about this in one of our late sessions. What was the first impression or thought you had when it came to talking to me and then the idea of working together? What was the first impression that you had during the consult?
Okay, so I said this to you. I thought you were a dick and you were intense. But I do think, and I notice now, when you are on the other side of the matrix and you're a happy person and you see things in a different light, I don't know if it's lonely or whatever you want to call it, but like the people that are upset and addicted or negative and addicted to their negative thoughts, when they encounter people that are open-minded and challenge them, they don't know how to deal with it. So it's something that, like, I mean, and I also don't worry about it anymore. Like, I don't worry about what people think as much. And so like my encounters with Sean, like at the beginning, was like, what does this guy want from me? What is he doing? Like, is he selling me on something? I mean, I would spend the exact same money in a heartbeat, and I would recommend it to anybody. And it is the best money I've ever spent in my life, on anything, because it works. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Well, so yeah, so the investment working with me is more than the average hypnotherapist, and some people kind of they get a little shell shocked by that sometimes when I mention what the rate is. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about that? Like, I mean, they can afford it, but it seems like a lot more than they were hoping or than they were expecting.
So I would say therapy could be a sentence, or medications could be a sentence. Like, you could be sentenced to take that for life. This is a $12,000 investment, and you get the training to control your thoughts, your feelings. You train yourself to live a completely different life, and then you're done. Like, I don't think that there is it's not a lifelong sentence of therapy. So I actually, yeah, my experience with therapy was like just like a little band-aid on I'd feel better when I used to go and out, a little anxiety, but my life wouldn't change.
Mhm.
I'm seeing life changes now. I'm seeing, like, my interactions with people better, my sales are better, my dating, my friendships are better, like a lot of things are better. And that didn't happen at therapy.
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this. Now that you've been through this, what are your expectations for what's to come? We've done the program. It's the kind of thing where you feel like you're going to need to come back to me for the rest of your life, or do you feel like you got what you need?
I think I got what I need. I just have to listen to the recordings pretty much, most days.
When you say have to,
And
let me cut you off. Do you feel like you have to, or do you feel like you enjoy it?
no, I like it. It's like a refresh, every morning, and I listen to them. I also noticed one thing I was going to mention. Um, when you start to also notice, like, what's good for you and bad for you in life, like certain types of people, like, I think there's a concept called batteries and vacuums, and you start to avoid the vacuums. And I mean, maybe if Instagram is a vacuum, or the news is a vacuum, you start to listen to podcasts or read books or go for walks. Like, you start to pick up on things in life that are good for you and bad for you, and then you just need to do more of it. And that was my experience. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, I feel like the three things that I came to Sean to work on are all being worked on. And yeah, and I think my future is bright. Yeah, much better than my past before Sean.
Very good. I'm glad to hear it. And I really wanted to take a minute too, just to thank you for, number one, sharing this with people, because you're, being open and honest about what you've been through. It's personal stuff. And I know you've referred a bunch of clients to me, and I've been able to help them. I'm grateful for that. So I just wanted to give kudos to you. I've seen you change. I mean, from my perspective, the change has been very satisfying and very profound. And I love talking with you and the conversations that we have. So I love what I do. And I think that's sometimes what allows an interaction like this to be effective. And so I really thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and to kind of share what your experience was like. It goes a lot longer than writing a review that goes on Google, that people can actually see there's a real person there who had a real experience. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I want to take this time before we finish up. Is there anything else, any other thoughts you had at all for whatever reason that you wanted to share?
Oh, no. No, I think that's it. Pretty much it. Yeah. I think I
Okay,
left it
great.
all out there.
Awesome, Jonathan. Well, thanks again for your time. And I look forward to hearing how your life develops. All right. So
Okay, great.
stay in touch and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Sean.